Greetings and welcome back to Room 303 in our Chats with Emily. That's what we're calling our readings through the poetry of Emily Dickinson in the Johnson edition. We turn now to poem 400, A Tongue to Tell Him I Am True. Notice capitalized him. We're going to see this hymn in the second stanza as well. And right away we're back to another love poem, but it isn't clear who the him or the he is in this poem. Who it is that she is specifically asking, I hope that he will understand me. Now our assumptions here that you've been following our stuff at learnstrong.net down that left-hand side, Chats with Emily, our playlist. I'm hoping that you've already worked through our set of introductory comments and as well our preceding 399 poems. You just finished with 399, A House Upon the Height, and we're going to have a comment about a house here. Now, this is one more time Emily wanting to confide to or about someone who she is in love with and wants to pronounce her fidelity, but not clear whether, in fact, it will be appreciated or not. We've seen this so many times already, and this is actually one of Emily's longer poems that we've seen in a while. She says it this way, A tongue to tell him I am true, its fee to be of gold had nature in her monstrous house, a single ragged child, to earn a mine, would run that interdicted way, and tell him, charge thee, speak it plain, that so far truth is true, and answer, what I do beginning with the day, that night begun, nay, midnight 'twas, since midnight happened, say, if once more, pardon, boy, the magnitude thou may enlarge my message, if too vast, another lad help thee. Thy pay in diamonds be, and his in solid gold. Say, rubies if he hesitate, my message must be told. Say, last I said was this, that when the hills come down and hold no higher than the plain, my bond have just begun. And when the heavens disband, the deity conclude, then look for me. Be sure you say, least figure on the road. Now, when we decided to call our series Chats with Emily, one of the reasons is a poem like this, where it is clear that Emily wants us to imagine that she's having a conversation with what she calls a single ragged child. Now, what is the mission that this child is supposed to deliver some message? It is fidelity. It is, when all is said and done, I was the one who truly loved you. It reminds us of Yeats's When You Are Old, and you'll remember that he says that he loved that pilgrim soul. He says that there's something about my love for you that is true, that is honest, even though you don't completely appreciate it. Now, notice she begins with tongues. The instincts are here to say, I wish I could say what I cannot say. Again, we're back to that translinguistic thing. It's so difficult sometimes for her to put into words what she wants to tell. A tongue dash to tell him I am true. And again, who is the him? Is it Sam Boyles? Is it somebody else? It's fee. Notice we're back to the economics language again. It's fee to be of gold. Oh, I would give gold for this message. Had nature in her monstrous house, interestingly, back to the house of 399, A House Upon the Height, her monstrous house, a single ragged child. Now this will be the messenger, right? This will be the one that sends somehow this message of love to who we don't know, right? To earn a mine, right? In other words, I'd be willing to pay. And the child would run that interdicted way. It's interesting that she uses the word interdicted. In other words, there's something that's keeping me from being able to have full disclosure. And tell him, again, who him is, we don't know. Charge thee, speak it plain, that so far truth is true. In other words, I want to give you the message, and I want you to share it with whoever he or him is. And I want to make sure that the message is true. And answer what I do, beginning with the day, that night. Notice it's specific. That night begun. Nay, midnight 'twas, since midnight happened. Say, this is maybe when she parted with this lover at midnight. If once more, and then notice, pardon, boy, she's back to the ragged child she's addressing. The magnitude thou may enlarge my message, if too vast, another lad help thee. In other words, bring along another child to make sure that this message is told. Thy pay, we're back to economics language, in diamonds be, you'll remember poem 397, when diamonds are a legend, and his in solid gold. So we're back to the second line with the use of the word gold. Say, rubies, and then interestingly, if he hesitate. Now, again, is the hesitation here of the child, the ragged child, or is it rather the him that which she's trying to address? My message must be told. Now, there have been people who have read this poem as something close to what we'll see here in a few poems later in 441. This is my message to the world that never wrote to me. Judge tenderly of me, she'll say at the end. The message, the letter, it's possible that she's referencing the poems that are her diamonds, that are her rubies. We saw that in poem 397. Say, we're back from tongue to say now. Say, last I said was this. This is what I want you to know. That when the hills come down, we're going to get to disband in a bit. That when the hills come down, there's very apocalyptic language here happening. She loved the book of Revelation. We've commented on it. That when the hills come down and hold no higher than the plain, my bond have just begun. In other words, fidelity, a bond. And when the heavens disband, come down to disband. The deity conclude, then look for me. Be sure, you say, least figure on the road. Emily, and speaking about the least figure, the smallest, I told you guys about that one. When we get to poem 486, she'll say it this way. I was the slightest in the house. I took the smallest room. At night my little lamp and book and one geranium so stationed I could catch the mint that never ceased to fall. In just my basket, let me think. I'm sure that this was all. I never spoke unless addressed, and then 'twas brief and low. I could not bear to live aloud, the racket shamed me so. And if it had not been so far, and anyone I knew were going, I had often thought how noteless I could die. Emily, diminutive in Emily, saying, this is what I want you to know. That at the end of the world, at the apocalyptic age, I will be the only one, the least figure on the road, looking for you. It is fascinating that this kind of language makes me sometimes wonder if Emily is drawing on that relationship between Aeneas and Dido in Virgil's Aeneid. She would have known that story and the longing for Dido to have Aeneas to herself, and yet Aeneas, of course, has to leave, and they will meet one last time in the underworld. We've given full lectures at learnstrong.net. I think at 2a, the point here is that true love will last to the end. I think that's the argument that she's making. At 2b, it's interesting the economics language with the apocalyptic language as well. At 3a, reading a poem like this, we immediately think of Shakespeare's sonnets, which of course Emily knew well, and especially, sonnet 116, let me not to the marriage of true minds admit impediments, love is not love, which alters when it alteration finds, or bends with the remover to remove. Oh no, what's he say? It's an ever-fixed mark that looks on tempests and is never shaken. It's the star to every wandering bark whose worth's unknown, although his height be taken. Finally, at 3b, do you have anyone in your life that you would be willing to say, I will be there on the road at the end of it all? I hope so. Thank you.